iamxeracon here again, and today I'm going to be talking about, in my opinion, 10 games that are underrated and you don't really hear much about. Okay, so let's get started. I think we can all agree that Mario Kart 64 was a classic racing game for the N64, but not too many people talk about the other racing game, Lego Racers, which also came out for the N64. That was a pretty fun game. You get to customize your own uh, car. You get to customize your own driver with your own license. Not that that part really mattered, but the racing aspect was great. I mean, also the power-ups too. You had your shields, you had your speed accelerator things, you had your hazards, and you also had projectiles as well. And the tracks were pretty fun as well. Um, Also, the circuit cups, those were also fun. When you beat a circuit, you could also get new tracks for versus mode as well as new custom pieces to customize your own car. And so, nothing's more satisfying than having a friend who already has 3 white bricks and is about to get a green and perhaps do a special warp zone when you can just blast him with a cannonball and knock out one of the bricks. If you like that, try out Hot Wheels Turbo Racing also for the N64. That's a pretty good game too. When you think of Dragon Ball Z games, what's the first thing that comes into your head? Budokai Tenkaichi series? Raging Blast? How about when it comes to the portable games, You have the Tenkaichi Tag Team, and you also have the Legacy of Goku series. Now, there's one Dragon Ball Z game that people don't really mention, and that's the Supersonic Warriors, or more specifically, Supersonic Warriors 2 for the Nintendo DS. I think that was a pretty good game. I mean, that was perhaps the best fighting game for the Nintendo DS. Um, it boasted a great roster of characters, it had great storylines. I mean, as far as the what if stories, it had awesome moves, uh, team combo attacks, and also great special attacks. I mean, people don't really talk about that. And I first saw it in a walkthrough video. If you can actually find a copy of Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors 2, I recommend you get it because that's a pretty good game. In 1999, Rare developed a game that was very unique for the time, and it was also a very good shooter. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. It's called Force Gemini, a game where you play as a small group of heroes who are trying to go and defeat the evil hordes of Mizar. It's very good. I mean, it had a lot of weapons in there that you could use. It had an awesome, awesome soundtrack, and it had a pretty good storyline. And multiplayer was pretty fun as well. The only downside to the game, though, was the fact that in order to really beat the game, you had to rescue each and every tribal. And that, I still haven't found all the tribals. And that means also, if you missed one, if you killed one, you'll have to go back to that area just to find it. And they are hard to find. Yeah, so, I mean, other than that, it was a pretty good game. I mean, you could play as 1 or 3 characters. Well, you had to play them all to beat the game, but there was one who was excellent for swimming, one had a jetpack so he could fly, and one was able to walk through lava. Well, I'll change that. Near the halfway endish point of the game, all characters get jetpacks. But one but you had to charge them in order to use them, except for the one character who could always use a jetpack. But yeah, that was a pretty good game. Superheroes and video games rarely work out well together. In fact, license games don't really work out well either. But if you're gonna have a superhero movie license game, oh, it's bound to be disastrous. Except for one case. There was a game that was called SpiderMan II. That one was released for the GameCube, the PS2, and the Xbox. And that actually was a great game. I mean, it was an open world game. It had side quests. You didn't exactly have to follow the storyline. You can do whatever you want to do. You could help people out around the city. You could stop, different robberies or crimes in progress. And you could just swing around the city however you wanted to. And that was a pretty good game. I mean, the story, I mean, you could also unlock new moves and stuff. You could do all sorts of combos and stuff. And even after the game, there was always still more stuff you could do. And eventually, you could also unlock different parts of New York and go explore there. You could even go to the Statue of Liberty if you wanted to. I mean, I haven't done that yet. I've tried to, but all my attempts have ended in failure. Even though I've never played the Mega Man, the original Mega Man series, I'm pretty sure that people who have played them will say that they're awesome. Hard, but awesome. So, how do you exactly build upon an awesome series? Mega Man X, which I actually have played, which was a good game, and the series was pretty good. There were a couple downers I hear, but other than that, they were a pretty good series. Now, fast forward through all that for, say, 100 years after the X series, what happens? Mega Man Zero. For those who have wanted to play as Zero and haven't, the Mega Man Zero games let you do that now. That's the main hero of the series. Well, in a new time, and things aren't exactly as he remembers them, and X is seemingly the villain. Now, the Zero games were actually 4 games, and they were pretty good. My favorite was the third one because of the storyline, the gameplay, and some of the music from it, but they were overall all good. Zero would typically retain the weapons that he used in all the games, like the Z Saber, his blaster, and also a couple times he kept his boomerang shield. But he also got some new abilities over the games, and during the games he'd also, as per usual, he'd keep the special weapons from the bosses he beat. And like I said, it was a very good series. In fact, if you want to try it out, just get the Zero collection, and you'll also be able to get special artwork and also some new, a new easy mode, because the games are actually challenging.